Hello.
Hello, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. Thank you for your time for the
course.
interview. Okay, you're working at ESL One Birmingham right now. How are you finding, what can you say about the crowd and overall return of the tournament to Birmingham?
So in the 5 years that we've not had it, it's been like the biggest loss for our scene because like the UK crowd, in my opinion, is like up there like top 2 crowds like in the world. Like for the sound, the ambience, like we just scream for like any team. Like if there's a good play, we scream for it. Like, it doesn't matter if you have, if you're from wherever, because like we just care about like the Dota itself. Because we don't have many players, right? Like we don't have many. Like we have one player, we have Ari. Mm-hmm. So when OG was playing, it was like incredible. And now he's eliminated. They're like, oh, who do we support now? So I'm gonna convince my lads to probably support Falcons in the finals. It's gonna get some like rallying going, get some chants going because. Like we're not very good at making new chants. We're good at using old chants, like OG, let's go Liquid. But we'll find some new chants. We'll cheer on Falcons a little bit in the finals, and we'll see what happens there. But Falcons are the favourite. Again, the crowd, like SCA, easily, of course, very, very good. But UK it rivals it. I think it rivals very good for crowd.
You mentioned one player. Can you tell what's happening with the overall like UK Dota scene? Because, for example, in Counter-Strike, there is also a lack of players on the professional level at tier 1. Why?
So the UK, like growing up, we're a lot of console gaming. So we play a lot of like FIFA, Call of Duty. We used to have a big Halo scene as well. Mm-hmm. And it's just kind of the culture of growing up and what games that we kind of had access to. Even to this day, like a lot of people who don't play PC games have a console. So it's just to, like, you had to be part of like that little crew to have a PC to then play games, and then Dota is so complicated that not only do you have to have a PC and play PC games, you need to be keen enough to want to go deeper into Dota, which is again very complicated. And unfortunately, we have like in regards to coaching, it was like myself. In regards to playing, we had Ari, Tanner from high school. We had Symmetrical, we have Azantic, and it's like we have 4 players. We had 1 coach. It's like we'd never really had a lot. And from the scene and what I know about, we don't really have many up-and-coming players. It's just the unfortunate reality, but in regards to like fan base and like crowd, we're S tier. In regards to players and the competitive side, no comment, not very good.
Not very good. Okay, what should change in order to get more players to the tier 1 scene in the UK?
For the UK, it's like events like Birmingham, where you just need that one moment where, let's say like the 8K player today sees the crowd, sees the atmosphere, and it sparks their motivation to not just be an 8K player, to go to 10K, to 11K, 12K, right? And it's like, for me, back in 2018, I was like top 400 support player. I go to Birmingham, and like that sparked my desire to like pursue further, right? To go deeper in the career, in the event. So I then become a coach and got to do majors and stuff like that. So for me, it's like the event and the community on site sparked me to go further. So I think the easiest answer would be have events in your country is the best answer. We could talk about grassroots and all this stuff, but it's easy to talk about it, but for it to actually impact, it takes time, and we've tried before. It doesn't really work out, unfortunately, and it needs a lot of investment with no real return, and no sponsor's going to be like, hey, let me give you $10,000 and get none of it back, because community and grassroots is great, but there's a lot of moving parts for it to succeed, so events are good.
So right now, are you seeing the evolution of this? Like, we will see more events in the UK potentially, and that will boost the scene, or not?
I mean, this is where it gets a bit awkward, because it's like you had pre-Brexit, it was easy for events. Yeah. Then we had COVID and all that shenanigans, so it got a little bit complicated with getting visas, having access to the country during COVID, of course. But now we're in that phase where everyone understands how to use the new, system and how the UK stands. So I think having Birmingham, having Counter-Strike events in London, I think there's some League of Legends, MSI type events, I think, in London. Like, there's big games back in England. So I think it is inevitable that once people realise how good our crowds are, how accessible it is in Europe and the world to get to here, I think there will be a lot more UK events, or I hope so. Being biased, being British, but I think it's a very good hub for esports, for the fans.
You mentioned that you've been as a coach, and you're a caster, and an analyst.
Yeah.
So right now, what are you enjoying more?
I think nowadays, I wish I was a coach again, but of course I'm happy being a caster, because like in Dota, whatever you did in the last year is what people remember you by. So like no one really remembers or cares that I coached. Like I used to coach Misery, Weehaw, King RD, like big names, right? They're all in South America. We got to majors, or like we eliminated like Kuroki from some Dream League major, like the Liquid of the Day. We nearly beat like ROTK coaching Vici Gaming, like cool shit like this. But it doesn't really matter because it's 2019. So like nowadays, I kind of wish I could go back to coaching, because I think, you know, I'm still up to date, still keen, play at a high enough level. And like casting's great and fun, but like coaching, there's like, again, the crowd. It's simple, the crowd. If you're coaching and you're influencing the team, getting the cheers, that's hype. Talking about it, also very hype. But like being able to like, I picked that hero that made everyone go, yeah, you know, like that just, there's a whole nother level of energy. And it's like, I'd like to feel it again before eventually Dota makes its way. But you know, Dota's got like 5, 10, whatever, however many years left on it. So at some point I'll probably return to coaching.
Following the Dota, so there is a patch. How are you finding it? What are your thoughts about it?
Yeah, I'm not too opposed to it. Crownfall, people expected Crownfall to be everything on day one. When the patch dropped, it realized it was a 4-stage patch. So I'm happy that we have like the communication of, hey, Crownfall will be 4 things. First was a very detailed kind of cavern crawl style activity. Act 2 could be gameplay, Act 3 could be gameplay, right? So for me, I don't mind it being staggered. I'm not expecting everything to be day one, and they've spent so much time on it that I would expect each act to have some level of flair. Like maybe Act 1 was for the casual player base, right? Maybe Act 2 is tailored towards the competitive player base, or so. I'm going to sit back and just enjoy what Valve's cooking, right? Like I have no idea how they operate in that regard, and I'm not going to sit here and just like throw random judgments. I like to see it first before I really get too analytical on it.
What should be changed in Dota? So you're in this scene for a long time. Is there any improvements you see that should be done for a casual player and the professional players?
In regards to the general...
Like the mechanics, maybe new heroes.
Sure.
Overall, what do you think about it?
I think just the path of... I like the fact that Dota is complicated, and Valve is not shy of adding new features at the expense of making the game easier. They might make the UI easier for people to understand, but like I like the fact that we are a complicated game. So if anything, I would enjoy that path being kind of continued, and then like just having nice supporting stuff within like the game, the HUD. Like make sure like if we install some crazy new mechanic, complement it by having like a good system to teach the player about it. So I think just for Dota to be good, continue the same shit they've been doing for however many years. Like people, like millions of people still play the game. There's nothing wrong. Just make sure that we keep up to date with like the quality of life features. Like Valve are implementing them like every other month. Like maybe they don't announce it, but they're in the game. I just think if we keep the quality of life features at the same level as our game and how deep it is, our game will survive for so long. Like it's got
no question.
No, exactly. Just it doesn't need to be like when you load up the game, you don't want to be going, oh, how do I do this? I need to go research it. It should be like in the game. Everything should be there available. And Valve's like getting closer to it, but we're still not there yet. But once they get there, it's like this game will be as good as it's been forever.
I know there's a pin of Ukrainian flag.
Of course, yes.
And I also know that you lived in Ukraine for some time, and I think your girlfriend is Ukrainian, and you're supporting Ukraine a lot.
Yes.
Can you tell me more about your support and why are you doing it? Like as a person.
Sure.
From the UK.
I lived in Ukraine from 2020 to 2022. I moved out of Ukraine about like a week or so before the war started. Because again, we kind of expected something to potentially happen.
So you get some analytics, you see that something
exactly.
is happening here.
I'd not seen my family as well, who lived in England because of COVID. So we decided that if there was a time to go back to England, it would be maybe now, because it's like syncs up to potentially avoid my girlfriend being in that position, myself as well. So we went back to England, and unfortunately the war broke out, and her family still is in Ukraine. We did go back in 2023. We took the flight to Poland, the coach into Ukraine, we met up. But yeah, I mean, her family's Ukrainian, she's Ukrainian. We lived there for 2 years, and it's kind of common sense. Like, I have family there. Like, why would I not support a country that's, under war?
So from your point of view, so it's important that Western casters, analytics, interviewers, as you are supporting Ukraine during this heavy war.
Yeah, I think it's easy for me to support as openly due to my history with it, but I think with any of these events, it's like the way media works is like event occurs, new event occurs. Oh, it's now popular. Let's now push it on top of the other one, right? And I think the main thing is just me to just remind people that these things are occurring and just keep supporting Ukraine, because at some point they will win. Russia will then get kicked out back to their sorry little place, and we'll be back into a good position. But again, you just need to. I can't do a lot, but just nodding tipping my hat, wearing my pin might remind someone like, oh yeah, Ukraine is still under war, that they need to obviously win the war. We can't just let them just go even. It's not how it works. So it's just my little bit, as much as I can do.
Thank you for that.
No worries.
Thank you for that interview.
That's okay. Thank you very much.